Have you ever stopped to think how these incredibly ancient, revered places, institutions steeped in centuries of tradition, handle modern digital threats?
It's a huge challenge.
Exactly. And today we're doing a deep dive into a really compelling case study on this. We're looking at the recent cyber breach at the historic Sree Padmanabhaswamy Temple in Kerala.
Mm-hmm.
We've pulled details from police investigation reports and also some internal temple documents to really break this down for you.
Yeah, and our goal here, our mission, if you like, is to get past just the headlines.
Right.
We want to explore all the different layers, the technical side, the vulnerabilities, but also the human factors involved. And crucially, why this incident actually matters to you, regardless of where you are.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. What actually happened? Well, earlier this month, the temple's computer network got hit. Compromised.
Right, leading to pretty major disruptions.
Yeah, big time. We're talking about important files being altered, key administrative staff finding themselves locked out, basically creating chaos.
Sounds serious.
Very. The temple executive officer, B. Mahesh, he acted fast, filed a formal complaint. That got the city cyber police involved. They registered a case and launched a full investigation.
And initially, the police probe was trying to figure out, okay, what kind of attack was this? Were they after money? Was it sabotage? Or maybe trying to get hold of sensitive temple data? What we know for sure, based on the sources, is that temple programs, their files, they were definitely messed with, tampered with.
Which confirms a serious security breach happened.
Absolutely. A significant lapse.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The investigation apparently zeroed in quite quickly on a main suspect. A former IT guy. He was only temporary staff and had actually been transferred months ago because there were some concerns about him.
Right, transferred. Not fired, transferred.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Despite being transferred, the allegation is he kept accessing the temple's systems remotely.
Wow.
And it gets worse. The complaint says he extracted data from computers belonging to senior officials and then somehow locked multiple administrators out of their own network. What does that suggest about the vulnerability here?
Well, this really shines a light on, I think, the specific risks these kinds of culturally significant institutions face, especially insider threats.
Because they might already have access.
Precisely. It's often harder to spot when someone had, or maybe still has, legitimate-looking access. That continued remote access, even after a transfer, it often screams, unrevoked credentials, or maybe old admin accounts that were never properly deactivated.
Just overlooked.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly common gap in offboarding, especially in places where IT might not be super centralized or formalized.
And as if that technical mess wasn't enough, our sources suggest this whole breach didn't just happen out of the blue. It seems to have coincided with some pre-existing internal arguments, disputes within the temple administration itself.
Yeah, that's a critical piece, the human element.
So how did these tensions play into it?
Well, the sources point to a group of employees, apparently with ties to some external organization, who've been putting pressure on senior officials there.
Pressure about what?
These tensions reportedly grew alongside these calls for an open inspection of the temple's really famous, maybe infamous, controversial B vault.
Ah, the vault with supposed ancient treasures.
Exactly, the one nobody's supposed to have opened for centuries.
Yeah.
So when you have that kind of internal friction, that instability, it can create, an environment where maybe a disgruntled insider could exploit things. Vulnerabilities that might otherwise just sit there unnoticed.
Makes sense. So they brought in an independent expert too, right? To check the systems.
They did. And that expert confirmed it. Unauthorized access, definite file manipulation, security breaches found on several devices across the network. Pretty clear-cut.
So where's the investigation at now? What are they trying to find out?
Right now, senior police officers, ASP level, and digital forensic teams are digging deep. They're going through server logs, access trails, trying to figure out the full extent.
Like, was money involved? Or sensitive data taken?
Exactly. That's the key question. Were financial transactions compromised or other really sensitive data? And, connecting this back to the bigger picture, this whole incident really highlights just how vulnerable major religious institutions in India can be digitally.
More so than, say, a regular company.
Potentially, yeah. They often deal with older systems, maybe tighter IT budgets, and sometimes a culture built heavily on trust, which is great, but can create blind spots for these modern cyber threats.
Even while their heritage, their finances, their records are increasingly moving online.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That reliance is growing but the security might not always keep pace.
Wow. So this deep dive really shows that complex mix, doesn't it? The tech vulnerability, meeting these very human factors, all inside such an ancient place like the Sree Padmanabhaswamy Temple.
It absolutely does, and it really leaves us with a crucial question, I think, not just for this temple, but for everyone. As more and more institutions, ancient and modern, lean on digital systems for everything they do, how do they strike that balance? The balance between getting all the benefits of technology, which are undeniable, and the absolute critical need for robust, tough security. Especially when, like we saw here, internal dynamics, internal politics even, just add extra layers of complexity.
That's a tough balance to
It
find.
really is.
Yeah.
And it's something many are still grappling with.